We've got a really critical deep dive today. It's focused on what is probably the most agonizing truth in business messaging. You've built a fantastic product, you've got a stellar team, but your visitors, the people you are paying to bring to your site, they're just clicking away, 5, maybe 7 seconds, and they're gone. And they
Mhm.
leave not because your solution is bad, but because your messaging is, well, it's just fundamentally
It's a
confusing.
silent conversion killer, isn't it? You're losing customers because you've put friction right at the very beginning. They don't get what you offer or, and this is the key, how it fixes their specific problem.
Exactly. We all know confusion costs money and clarity converts. So our mission today is to unpack Donald Miller's story brand framework. It's basically a tested blueprint rooted in classic storytelling, designed to clear up all that confusion and, drastically improve your conversion rate.
Yeah, and if you look at the source material, the core problem Miller points to is almost universal. Most businesses, without even realizing it, cast themselves as the hero of the story. They
Mhm.
talk about their history, their rewards, their process. But humans, we're just not wired to care about the business's journey. We're hardwired to care about our own survival and our own success. So the story brand approach just forces you to flip that script.
And that flip immediately brings us to principle one, the big one, the foundational shift. You have to position the customer as the hero. Full stop. The business has to be the guide.
Right.
It sounds so simple, but this is where that fatal mistake happens. It's where we launch into, we're the market leader, our cutting edge methodology.
And what's so powerful about that guide analogy is how clear it makes the roles. We all get it. The guide is that wise figure who helps the hero win. I mean, think about any great story. Neo is the hero. Morpheus is the guide.
Frodo is the hero, Gandalf is the
That,
guide.
that,
And the guide never, ever steals the spotlight. Morpheus doesn't go fight Agent Smith at the end. He just equips Neo to win the fight himself.
and your business has to internalize that. The guide isn't selling a product. They're offering a map, a tool that the hero your customer needs to achieve their success. When you frame your company as the hero, you're basically forcing the customer to audition for a supporting role, and they just immediately resent it and tune out.
Okay, so let's make this really practical. The sources use a project management software example. If you insist on being the hero, your website headline is all about your achievement. Award-winning interface and cutting-edge AI features. A visitor sees that and thinks, great for you, but I'm still stressed about my deadlines.
Right. But if you take on the role of the guide, you immediately address the customer's internal life first. So the better headline gets right to the struggle. You're drowning in scattered tasks and missed deadlines. We give you control. Then you offer your solution, a simple dashboard that shows exactly what needs to happen today so you can leave work on time.
The difference is just, it's striking. But here's a question a listener might have. If we focus only on the customer's problem, how do we not sound like a commodity? Where do we put our unique value, our secret sauce?
That's a really smart question. And Miller's framework does address this by clarifying the guide's role. The guide isn't just an empathetic listener. The guide is the trusted expert. Your unique value isn't your history. It's this specific, proven plan or the unique tool, your product, that you created because of your expertise. A customer doesn't care that you're award-winning. They care that you built the one tool that finally solves their unique kind of chaos. You just highlight the effectiveness of your solution as the hero's essential tool.
I think that shift right there from broadcasting achievements to offering a proven tool, that's a powerful mental model someone can use immediately. The implication is huge. We stop wasting effort on self-promotion and start focusing 100% on helping the customer win.
Precisely. And in every story, the hero has to face conflict. No problem, no story. And if there's no story, there's no engagement. That's why we have to move to principle two. The hero has a problem, but it's never just the surface issue. If you only talk about the surface problem, you fail to create any urgency.
And most of us stop at what Miller calls the external problem. This is the obvious logistical thing. I need a new roof. I need a better accounting system. It's measurable. It's easy to define, but it rarely makes someone act on its own.
It's the logical fix, but we buy based on emotion. That's why that second level, the internal problem, is so critical. This is the emotional gap. It's how the external problem makes the hero feel. If your roof leaks, that's external. But you might feel guilty about not protecting your family or anxious about the cost. That's internal.
And this is where the money is, right? You should probably write this down. Customers buy solutions to how problems make them feel. We don't buy a 2-inch drill bit. We buy the feeling of competence of having that picture perfectly hung on the wall. We don't buy complicated financial software. We buy the feeling of control.
Hmm. And we have to articulate that internal frustration louder than the external solution. But there is a third level, a really powerful one, that elevates the stakes, the philosophical problem.
This one often gets completely ignored in marketing. What exactly defines the philosophical problem?
It's the moral statement. It's about why the current situation is just plain wrong. It defines the injustice that your product fixes. So if you're selling that new roof, the philosophical problem isn't the leak. It's the conviction that families deserve to feel safe and protected in their own homes. You're positioning your business as fighting for something bigger.
That adds incredible depth. Let's look at the meal prep delivery service example. The external problem is just, I don't have time to cook. Oh, if you stop there, you're just another service.
Right. But the internal problem might be the guilt they feel feeding their family fast food after a long day, or the anxiety. The philosophical statement here is, eating healthy should not require a second job. Busy families deserve convenience without sacrificing nutrition.
You've just tapped into a core belief system. You've shifted the sale from a delivery service to a lifestyle advocate.
And this works just as well in B2B. Think about that project management software again. External. Our tasks are scattered. Internal. I feel unprofessional and embarrassed when I have to explain missed deadlines to my boss. And the philosophical. Teams deserve systems that let them focus on high-value work, not administrative chaos. By touching on that, you make the product choice feel meaningful, not just, functional.
So connecting emotionally by hitting all three levels creates that sense of urgency. If the hero doesn't fix this, they aren't just missing a deadline, they are failing a moral duty. That's compelling.
Absolutely. And once the hero understands the stakes, they need to trust the person offering the map, the guide. Which brings us to principle 3. The guide must be trustworthy. And that means showing a critical balance of empathy and authority.
So to trust you, the customer needs to see both, and they need to see them immediately.
And the balance is everything. If you lead only with empathy, we understand your pain, we're here for you, you just sound like a sympathetic friend. Nice, but unqualified.
Right. I don't need a friend. I need someone who can solve this.
Exactly. And conversely, if you lead only with authority, Harvard MBA, 30 years experience, you sound arrogant, maybe qualified, but distant. The hero doubts you can relate to their specific messy problem.
So authority without empathy breeds skepticism.
And empathy without authority breeds uncertainty. The goal is to communicate. I have walked this path, I get the specific pain of this struggle, and I have the proven solution that works.
The sources use a great example with a restaurant consultant. If the consultant starts by listing credentials, they just sound intimidating. The customer is thinking, do you really understand my 2 a.m. payroll panic, or are you just a textbook genius?
But the effective consultant starts with empathy. They say, I ran 3 restaurants myself before I nearly went bankrupt. I know exactly what it feels like to dread opening your inbox. Then they pivot to authority. Because of that failure, I developed a non-negotiable financial system that saved my business. Now I teach that exact system.
That story builds instant trust. The guide isn't just selling theory, they survive the same threat the hero's facing right now.
And that combination is the key driver of sales. Trust minimizes the perceived risk. In a crowded market, the trusted guide, not always the most innovative product, wins.
Okay, so we have the hero, the 3-level problem, and the trusted guide. The story is moving, but even with high trust, customers can get paralyzed right before they buy. They trust you, but they don't know what to do next. That takes us to principle 4. Give them a clear, simple plan.
Yes, this is all about cognitive load. Confusion kills sales because the brain defaults to doing nothing when it's faced with too much ambiguity. A plan's only purpose is to remove that fear by mapping out the journey. It just needs to be simple, 3 to 5 steps, and easy to picture.
It eliminates that silent objection in the customer's head. This sounds great, but I have no idea what happens after I click buy. If you make the risk feel abstract or complicated, the customer just freezes.
The plan turns a potentially huge, scary decision into a series of small, manageable steps. Look at the business coach example. If the coach just says, I help businesses grow, the whole process feels vague, risky, and probably expensive.
But a concrete plan is immediately reassuring. Step 1, 30-minute discovery session. It's free. Step 2, custom growth blueprint. Step 3, launch and weekly check-ins. The whole journey is demystified. That risky decision now feels like a doable, phased commitment.
And once that path is crystal clear, we introduce the final essential piece for turning interest into revenue. That's principle 5. Call them to action. And crucially, you have to use both direct and transitional CTAs.
Right, and this is where businesses just hemorrhage leads. They assume everyone who lands on their page is ready to buy now, so they only use the direct CTA, the big ask. Buy now, schedule a call.
And that only captures, what, maybe 10% of people who are ready to commit today? You lose the massive 90% who are interested, who trust you, but just aren't ready to pull the trigger yet. You have to nurture them. And that's the job of the transitional CTA.
The transitional CTA is that soft entry. It's a commitment that costs the customer nothing but their email address. Things like download our free guide, watch a demo, or get the checklist. It's a low-stakes first step.
Psychologically, this is so powerful. It uses the principle of commitment and consistency. When a customer takes a small, low-risk action, they're far more likely to take a bigger, higher-risk action later. They've already committed a little bit of energy, so the next step feels more natural.
So using the online courses example, if every single button on your page screams, enroll now, $997, you're just scaring away anyone who's curious.
Exactly. But if you also prominently offer a transitional CTA like, watch our free 30-minute training on this module, you capture the lead, you provide value, and you start that commitment process. You need both types of CTA displayed prominently to capture everyone, no matter where they are in their buying journey.
That's a really comprehensive, two-pronged approach. Okay, let's turn this into immediate action for our listener. Miller suggests a simple audit of your current homepage. What should you be looking for?
First, just start by auditing your core message through that guide hero lens. Look at your main headline. Is it focused on the customer's problem, or is it talking about your company's achievements? Be really honest with yourself.
Second, check your calls to action. Look at your main buttons. Are both a clear direct CTA and an effective transitional CTA present and easy to find?
Third, and this is the homework, the rewrite exercise. Take your main product and craft a new headline. Use this format. Customer type has external-internal problem. Your business helps them gain success. That forces you into the guide role.
And finally, implement the missing CTA. If you're heavy on buy now, add a strong, value-packed free download. If you're giving away too much for free, make sure there's a clear, direct path for customers who are actually ready to commit.
The synthesis here, connecting all 5 principles, is just about achieving radical clarity. The reason this framework improves conversion rates isn't that you suddenly have a better product, it's that you have removed the confusion, defined the stakes, and given the customer an easy path to their own success.
That's such a critical piece of the puzzle. Okay, let's quickly recap. The 5 essential principles that lead to clarity and conversion are: 1. Make the customer the hero. 2. Define their 3-level problem, external, internal, and philosophical. 3. Become a trusted guide with both empathy and authority. 4. Provide a simple plan. And 5. Use both direct and transitional calls to action.
And here is the final thought for you to chew on. While 99% of businesses will continue making themselves the hero, listing their credentials and sharing their origin story, you now understand that sustainable growth isn't about having the best solution on the market. It's about having the solution that best facilitates the customer's own story. So ask yourself this: what aspect of your current customer's story, that neglected internal struggle, or that high philosophical stake, are you currently ignoring that could be the key to unlocking their desire for success?